You're welcome to the Guided Talk Show. And on today's podcast, I am Dr. Oluwatosin. I'll be the speaker for today. And on today's topic, I will be speaking about your diet and your health. What's the correlation between your diet and your health? Firstly, I would like to appreciate Itunum, the host, and I'd like to appreciate Precious for bringing me on this platform. Thank you so much. And I hope that you learned something in these few minutes we're going to discuss. This is a very important topic that is relevant to everyone because the food you eat determines the outcome of your life eventually. What you take inside of you is medicine. Now, to cut straight to the chase, I would like to let all of us know that whatever we eat on a daily basis will eventually affect the outcome of our lives. Yes, the same way someone will ingest a particular medicine, for example, and then you feel better because there were some dynamics that the drug had to walk through in your body. He had to, perform some, functions that I wouldn't want to mention any medical word now, but there are a lot of things that happens to different organs. There are target organs that these drugs work on, and same way someone would take, for example, poison, and then it will slowly kill the person or rapidly kill the person, and so many other things like that. Whatever you take into your body affects you in one way or the other. It's the same way the food we eat, and that is why we must pay attention to food, because it eventually determines how healthy we are. Do you know that you can actually stop or reduce the amount of medications you take, irrespective of what you are treating? If you are listening to me and maybe you have a terminal illness like hypertension, diabetes, or maybe any metabolic illness, or maybe the common infectious diseases like malaria, enteric fever, or whatever it is, do you know that you can actually reduce the incidence of taking medications because of the kind of diet you focus on? And so I would like to talk about that right now. I'd like to tell you that you should really, really pay attention to your diet because it's really going to help your health on the long run. Now, what are the things that we should pay attention to? You should pay attention to the diet that helps you metabolize your food, that helps you break down food, and that nourishes your body the more. What are the foods we should avoid the most? We should avoid the foods that maybe they pump in a lot of energy, but then they make you stress out over time. So we have heard a lot that foods like that are very high in carbs, like refined sugars. I'm going to break it down. Things like highly processed foods, like your noodles, your spaghetti, and other processed foods like that, your cereals, those things should be limited as much as possible. Refined sugars, heavily processed sugars like your regular white sugar, your carbonated drinks, and all of that. You should limit such. Unfortunately, that is what many people drink. I remember when I was in medical school, there was a time when most of us were just drinking Coke. We barely drank water. We just drank maybe a cup or two of water every day. We were just drinking Coke. Of course, we were young and our body was burning it, but we didn't realize that it was going to have an adverse effect. But thank God many of us stopped in time. But do you know that if a child is born to maybe either parents are diabetic or hypertensive, that child has a probability of becoming hypertensive in the future, you know, maybe when they attain 40. In fact, now the disease does not wait anymore. I've seen a lot of patients who have hypertension or diabetes at the age of 25, and it's an essential hypertension, meaning it's not caused by any kidney problem or an accident or stress or something. It just comes because it was in the blood, it was hereditary. But do you know that if a child, even if both parents are hypertensive or diabetic or maybe asthmatic or something that is, inheritable, do you know that it is possible to stay healthy from the diet you start to feed that child? Oh, yes. The truth is that the diet the mother takes when the child is still in the uterus, take for example, a mother takes a lot of fruit, she takes a lot of carrots, a lot of foods rich in omega-3, which should not be too much anyway, lots of foods rich in vitamins and minerals and potassium and all that. The outcome of the child's health will be fantastic. Then this child is born, and then you don't introduce the child to processed sugar all of a sudden, bobo and all the biscuits and the sweets. No, you ensure that you feed the child with very healthy meals, fruits and a lot of proteins, less carbs. Do you know that it is possible that this child escapes completely because it starts at that age? Unfortunately, many people do not know that, the right kind of diet starts from infants, in fact, in utero, from when the child is pregnant. Now, from when the mother is pregnant, sorry. Now, you that is already an adult, is it possible to reverse some of the bad choices you have made, some of the detrimental effect that the bad choices of food has done to you? Absolutely, yes. That's why I have come to, enlighten us today. We can make a U-turn. There are some diseases called metabolic, illnesses, things like hyperlipidemia, things like, high cholesterol that will eventually lead to heart problems, high blood pressure. If you take foods that are rich in potassium, for example, rich in sodium, not so much of sodium, less sodium, but more potassium, do you know that it can relax the heart, relax the blood vessels, and reduce high blood pressure? And these are just the regular fruits around you: avocado, bananas, watermelon, oranges, and all those fruits. You see? So, in essence, I like to round up by saying this: focus more on proteins because they will build your muscles. They will keep you full on the long run, and you don't get to burn them, so fast like the carbs. Because when you take a lot of carbs, especially the refined, highly processed sugars, you feel good, you feel fantastic. That feeling when you take a lot of milkshake and Big Mac in McDonald's, you take the meat pies and all of that. You feel so good, you feel amazing, but then after some time you feel hungry again, and there is a craving for more. That's what high carbs do. You get very little nourishment, you get some energy, some pump of energy, but then they go get stored as fat, trans fat. They go get stored as bad fat in your body. But when you take proteins, it builds your muscles, it strengthens your body, it makes you healthier, it makes you full. At the same time, it doesn't bring these unnecessary cravings. So what am I saying? Let us ensure that we take a lot of fruits, a lot of veggies, and less carbs, and eventually the outcome of your health changes. Eventually you would have to stop a lot of drugs you are taking. Eventually you don't get to take some medications anymore. I hope I've been able to educate you. God bless you and have a nice day. Bye.